here to debate?
Yes, I am.
All right. What's your name, age, or pronouns?
We'll do Leo, age 20, pronouns he, him.
Okay, Leo, what topic are you calling to debate about?
I would like to debate Christianity is terrible.
Okay.
So, can I actually hear your point of view on Christianity first before I give my rebuttal?
On why it's terrible?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what you think.
Yeah, sure. It's a religion that morally permits slavery, and any religion that morally permits slavery is terrible.
Okay, is that your only topic? Just
Do
the
I need
slavery part?
another?
Well, I mean, like, I would like to know because obviously the bullet points that you've given on your stream are like the big points for something that you identify with. It is something
hmm
that you truly believe in. I'd love to
hmm
hear more because I want to give you I want to, instead of giving you like snippets from the Bible or anything like that, or preach to you. I don't want to do that. I want to know truly what you think, and then I want to give you my rebuttal.
Sure. The God of the Bible, specifically the Christian God, is an evil being. If he were to exist, I don't believe he exists. If he was to exist, he's an evil being. So, like, lore accurate God of the Christian Bible would be an evil being who commits evil actions, such as morally permitting slavery, as well as a lot of other really fucked up shit. Who he is responsible for all suffering in the world, and he enjoys watching us suffer. He gets his rocks off from it. So therefore, I think the religion is
Okay.
terrible because it promotes the worship of an evil being.
Okay. I believe personally, I think your understanding of what God is, I cannot say it's right or wrong, but I do understand where you're coming from. Now, here is my rebuttal to you, and interrupt me at any time if you want to like pick apart something that I'm saying. The first things first is Christianity and the belief of God in any Abrahamic religion, from Judaism, Islam to Christianity, but specifically we're talking about Christianity, has been massacred by humans, right? Through translations of text, what the Bibles have said through so many different reiterations from what it initially said from initial Greek to Hebrew scripture has been massacred by people. The teachings and the writings in the Bible, we have somewhat, and I'm not going to say it's anywhere even near perfect in modern day, right? But the teachings of the Bible were not translated in good faith, and most of the time, the people who could read the Bible over time were the people who had power. They were monks, they were kings, they were priests, they were the people who had control of everyone. And we all know that one of the big things about humanity always is greed. Right? The people who translated the Bible, the people who said it was okay to have slaves, the people who said it was okay to stone your sister for wearing two different cuts of cloth, everything like that, right? Those are the people who rewrote the Bible. Those are the people who wanted to change it to fit what they thought at the time, because they are the people who had power. Is God, before I continue, I want to hit your first topic. Is God an evil being? The truth is that perception of good and evil on a grand hyper intelligent scale is unperceivable to you and I. We are human beings of God's creation. Now, again, you might not believe that we are. I believe that we are. At the end of the day, scientifically, we do not 100% know, but I believe, and that's what the Bible is about, is faith towards God, right? I don't think you and I could judge what God does on a human scale because he is such a hyper intelligent, cosmic, whatever, unperceivable being. That what
Okay,
you and I
so
think is bad.
the claim you're making right now is one that Christians make a lot, which is God. It's okay. It's actually not immoral when God does bad things because he's allowed to do those bad things.
It's
So
not, I'm not saying I'm not
God can do
saying that
basically
God
and
does bad.
whatever
I'm
bad
not
he.
saying
Well, yes, yeah, you are. God can is because God is this being beyond our perception. Anything we can't say what he does is moral or immoral, even if it leads to suffering of innocent people. It doesn't matter because he's God. So obviously that suffering is good if God does it.
it's not suffering. Suffering isn't inherently, it's not a good thing, right? But good and bad things have to exist. You can't just live in a utopia, and you cannot live in a
Why?
desolate land area.
Wait,
god
why?
created god created go ahead.
Why can't only good exist with no suffering?
So it's the concept of light and dark as we read through Genesis 1 through 3. When God
Wait,
created light and then
anything you
separated
say,
it from
anything you
light and
say from the
darkness.
Bible, I can just wipe off as like I don't believe any of this to happen because you've already said the Bible has been written and rewritten by man. So because you've made this statement that the Bible has been written and rewritten
No.
and rewritten,
What you're
yes,
doing here is you're cherry picking a specific thing that
no,
I said,
you are
and
no,
then you're going
hold
to
on,
redistribute that. No,
no,
hold
no,
on. This is what you do on your stream. I know.
it's
It's
not
okay.
actually.
People who debate this, what they like to do is they like to cherry pick a topic that somebody
You
said
are cherry
in
picking.
one sentence and then use it for an and use it as an example throughout everything. There are so
No,
many
you are
nuanced
cherry
details
picking.
in descriptions of the Bible for the
You are
exact
cherry
thing that I
picking.
said right there. Right? No, I'm not. You're
Yes, you
trying to,
are.
and again, I understand it's your stream. You're putting in diverse of topics that
No,
what are
you're
the
quite literally
majority of the
cherry picking
United
right
States
now.
and the people who are watching your
You're quite.
stream care about,
Let,
right?
let
I
me
understand this is
great.
what you
Hold on,
do.
hold on, hold on.
But I'm
Let's come
going to
to a
speak
let's
my
come to
part,
a
which is
let's come
okay.
to a let's come to a conclusion. Let's come to an understanding here. Is the Bible
Okay.
an accurate depiction of historical events, God's word, the word of the prophets, the word of the apostles? Is the Bible accurate? Yes or no?
We don't know.
Okay, so when you
You
come
have
to
to have
me,
faith.
great,
That's the
thank you.
thing.
Hold on, stop. So when you come to me and say, we know this to be the case because in Genesis it says X, we don't know that Genesis is accurate. So using Genesis now to support your claim is nonsense because you just said we don't know that Genesis is accurate. So why would I listen to something that
But
we don't know is accurate to now
the evidence
support
of
your
absence
claim?
is not the absence of evidence. Okay? So just because I don't know if something is there doesn't mean it's not there. Ergo, your claim doesn't work.
If
It
something
doesn't
is
work
not there,
because
you can't
if I'm using
pinpoint to
Genesis to quote,
this
right, and I'm saying I don't know, but I believe, right? That
based
means
on
that I
what?
believe that Genesis 1 through 3 is correct.
Great,
What
and then
you're claiming is
I
because
believe
I
that
don't know, then it
that
doesn't
slavery is
exist.
morally permissible under God's law, and that would, in my opinion, mean that God
Slavery was
morally
never
permits. Say it.
slavery was not permitted under God. It was created
Incorrect.
through, I'm pretty sure it was
Incorrect.
Hebrew text that permitted
Incorrect.
slavery.
Incorrect. What were the Levitical laws under God? What were the Levitical laws? It was rules that God gave to
Something
Moses when Moses went to speak to God on Mount Sinai. God gave Moses laws and said, these are the ways for the Hebrew people to act morally. And one of those laws is your male and female slaves may come from the nations around you. From them, you may buy slaves, you may own slaves as your property, and you may pass that property down to your children and make them inherited property for life. This means, because God's saying you can do this, that it is morally permissible. Otherwise, what would he have done? He said no.
And then if you want to go on that, sure, we'll write on that. Then what happens later?
There has been
When
0 points of time.
When Jesus comes down to the land and starts
Correct.
preaching to the apostles and everyone that wants to listen to him, he pretty much he doesn't say all of what was old written for Moses and the Ten Commandments. He didn't say all of it was for naught. But he did say that what God was trying to do was create a perfect world, and was really not fully giving people free will to do what they want. Jesus himself has dismissed those claims. Jesus himself does.
That's crazy. Jesus never sat and preached, "Hey guys, free all your slaves." Never a thing Jesus said. And in fact, if we want to talk about Jesus' teachings, his apostles, like Paul, who went on to preach Jesus' message, said specifically that slaves need to obey their earthly masters, whether those masters are kind or cruel. Kind of seems weird that the person that learned directly from Jesus, if Jesus is saying don't own slaves, kind of seems weird that Paul, who learned directly from Jesus, is saying that slaves need to obey their masters. Isn't that kind of weird? Shouldn't Paul have instead said, masters, release your slaves?
Jesus was the person who directly learned from Jesus, and then he betrayed Jesus, right?
This is different. We're not talking about betraying Jesus. Okay, so the book of Paul,
human contingency.
so we ignore the book of Paul then. So what you're saying is Paul went against Jesus. We ignore the book of Paul because we don't actually know that apparently Paul was not.
I'm not saying that we ignore the book of Paul.
Then per the book of Paul, Paul, slaves are to obey their earthly masters, correct?
No.
Paul didn't tell slaves to obey their earthly masters?
I'm going to fact check you. I'm going to look.
Oh, I'll pull it up for you. So this is specifically in, where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Peter. I said Paul, I meant Peter. My apologies.
Okay.
Same diff. Peter says very specifically, he tells slaves to revere their masters whether they are just or cruel. He tells slaves specifically. This is in Ephesians. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Obey them not only to win their favor when their eye is on you, but as slaves of Christ, do the will of God from your heart. So serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not people. It just seems weird to me. Just seems weird to me.
Then,
that where Peter is telling.
I'll jump on that statement.
Sure, go ahead.
Then I'll jump on that statement. It's the context of the time, because, and I will, as I will to do from the beginning of my statement before, is that the Bible is incredibly nuanced.
Oh, that was Paul. Oh, sorry. That was Ephesians. So that was Paul. My mistake. I thought that was Peter, but yeah, if that was Ephesians.
The context of the
Paul.
time is it's important to understand that the instructions that were given by Paul matter to the construct of the social structure of that time, where slavery was a common practice. We don't do slavery anymore because we as humans woke up and said it was bad. We still have slavery. It's a stupidly crude reiteration of what happened, but we figured that out. But at that time, that was the social norm.
Okay, so it's the context.
The social norm. That was what was normal at the time.
God
hold on.
only
Paul does not explicitly condemn or abolish slavery. Absolutely.
Correct.
But he focuses on how believers, both slaves and the masters, should conduct themselves with existing.
Yeah, masters should conduct themselves by owning their slaves. He doesn't. He never
should also submit. But it's also saying at that time that masters should also submit to Jesus as their slaves submit to them.
Doesn't matter. They're still owning people, right? Whoop-de-doo, they submit to Jesus. Do they still own people? Okay, great. So here, this is what I love. This is what I love. It's the context of the time. So let's just wait. Let's
in AD.
Wait. Answer me this question: does God morally permit things that are sinful?
What's the context of that question?
That's the whole context. That question is a complete sentence with a complete context. Does God morally permit humans to do sinful actions?
I see. It's a trap question.
It's not a trap question.
Right? God gives people free will to do what they will, right?
Free will is completely different from something being morally permissible. Free will is different. No, because you just went into free will, which is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Free will is separate from moral permissibility. Free will is separate from. If you talk about free will, you don't have an answer. No, you don't. Let's hear you talk. Let's hear you talk about free will and how it's has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Do whatever you want. God has given you free will to do whatever you want. Is exactly what you're doing right now.
Not an answer.
If you want to live a life away from God and away from Christ and don't believe him, you can do that.
That's not what I asked.
Permits sin. Does God permit sin?
It's not what I asked.
He's not going to smite people.
It's not what I asked.
Committing sin.
It's not what I asked.
Okay, you literally did ask.
Nope. I said, does he morally permit people to do sinful actions? By saying morally permit, that means he's saying these actions are good, that they are not morally wrong.
He's not saying these actions are good. He's not saying.
Do you know what the opposite of what is the opposite of immoral?
Moral?
Great. So if God does not say something is immoral, what is it?
It's moral.
Thank you. So if God says that owning slaves is okay and that you may do this, he's saying it's not immoral, which makes it what?
It makes it moral, right?
Great. Thank you.
But we also just went over the point that owning slaves at the time was a normal thing around the world.
Was eating seafood at that time a normal? Was eating seafood at that time a normal thing around the world?
Well, I mean, no, it wasn't.
No. Yes, it was. Fish was one of the fishes.
Fish was a
fish. Historically, fish has been one of the fish has been one of the most eaten foods, meat-wise, ever. What are you talking about?
Well, really, it's been chicken. Chicken is
it's been fish
across the world.
No, it's been fish.
It's been chicken.
It's been fish. Chicken is a cultivated. Chicken is a cultivated crop, or cultivated livestock. It's been fish. You don't cultivate fish. Fish was eating before we started cultivating livestock. Please.
We cultivate
It's not been
fish
chicken.
now. Cultivating a chicken is the same as cultivating a fish.
It's not. Fun fact.
Whatever. That's not really
The
the
bulk
point
of our
at hand,
fish
right?
doesn't come
We're
from
going on a
cultivating
tangent.
fish. It comes from deep ocean.
The point on the tangent was
fucking A, bro.
Was exactly, does God permit sin? God allows you to do what you want because you have free will. It is your responsibility.
Are you punished for sinning? Are you punished for sinning?
Yes.
Then he doesn't. Then it's not morally permissible. Then it's not morally permissible, my G. I don't know if you know the difference between morally permissible or not, but if you're punished for it, then it is not morally permissible. However, he doesn't punish people for slavery because he says slavery is morally permissible. Now, do you believe slavery is a morally permissible action?
You're doing the same thing.
I'm not doing the same thing. What does the phrase morally permissible mean? What does the phrase morally permissible mean, my G?
At that time and at that context.
What does the phrase morally permissible mean? What does the phrase morally permissible mean?
Dude, I don't need to know.
Yes, you do.
Over the definition
if we're having a conversation about what is morally permissible and you keep mischaracterizing what morally permissible is, yes, we do.
And I understand that you're doing this for views because, again, it is...
Doing it for views. Homie, you don't know what morally permissible means. You literally don't know what the phrase means. No, you don't.
Dude.
Do you know how I know you don't? Do you want me to tell you how I know you don't know what it means? Do you want to know how I know you don't know what it means?
Okay.
Because you brought up free will when I'm talking about moral permissibility. That's how I know.
You do not have the brain power to actually listen to what I'm saying. So, if there was a context in time where slavery was okay, it was okay in that time. Did God permit it at that time? Yes.
Yes.
Do I know why? I don't.
Yes, he did.
I can't give you the answers to why he did it at that time. But also, slavery is not the only thing that happened in the Bible.
I don't care if it's not the only thing that happened in the Bible. I could care less.
And I don't understand.
It's not my argument.
Caught up in one topic of one
slavery
specific thing. Obviously, you're more educated in, and you stump people in.
Slavery.
Rather than looking at the whole picture and the nuanced picture that you are very obviously avoiding, which was the initial topic of conversation that I started with.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Nuanced topics of the initial topic that we were doing.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Diverge from the conversation because you want to shut down the argument and make yourself look smarter. You are smart in that exact topic.
You don't know what moral permissibility is.
Right? Do I have an exact rebuttal of why God permitted slavery? No. I haven't read the Bible enough and studied it enough to truly understand.
We know you haven't.
My perception as to why.
You haven't read it at all.
But here's the point. We're going to go back about your whatever. Is sinning morally correct, and does God punish you for it? Yes, he does. At the end of the day, in the end of time,
right, unless you own slaves,
time to meet judgment. And
then if you own slaves, he doesn't punish you for that. Because it's morally permissible.
I understand that you're going on the slave thing. Yeah. I completely understand that you're riding on the slave train right now because that is the topic that you want to die on. You want to die on the hill.
No, you're so laser focused that you don't understand what the larger context. You don't understand. Homie, I hate to tell you this, but you're not going to be able to overspeak me on my own channel. You know that, right?
I mean, I've been doing it.
Oh, okay. Now, what you just experienced was the hold button. So if you keep doing it, guess what's going to happen?
Because I'm talking.
Sorry, I'm talking now,
you have
right?
To put me on.
Okay. Sorry, am I talking right now? Did I tell you it was your? Oh, okay. Sorry, did I tell you it was your turn to speak?
Quitting? You're rage.
Am I quitting, or am I trying to tell you to stop talking when it's not your turn? So I don't know if you know this, but in a conversation, oh, okay, yeah. Here's the fun part. I can just mute you. Do you understand that it's not your turn to speak?
You're giving me the upper hand.
It's not your turn to speak. I don't care. It's not your turn to speak. It's not your turn to speak.
Your show right now.
It's not your turn to speak. So here's what we're going to do, chat. He's muted. I'm just going to talk. He's muted, so I'm just going to talk, chat. So here's how we do it. He's muted. I'm just going to speak. So basically, when we're pointing out that God is morally permitting slavery, what we're pointing out is that the Bible, largely contradictory, right? Largely a contradictory piece of, which he's already agreed the Bible is contradictory, yet he wants to continue to use the Bible as a talking point. I don't know why, because again, he doesn't know the Bible. He didn't even know that in Ephesians, Paul literally says to tell slaves to obey their earthly masters. He doesn't know this stuff because he's probably never read past fucking Genesis. He didn't know that God morally permits slavery in Leviticus. Do you know why? Because he's probably never read past Genesis. Now, secondly, he goes, well, but, you know, God allowed it at the time because it was a hard practice to regulate and blah, blah, blah. So it's harder. Let me just confirm. It's easier to tell everybody to stop eating pork, to stop eating shellfish, to stop eating these foods because they're unclean. It's easier for God to tell people to stop eating an entire food source than it is for God to tell people to stop owning people. That's easier. Third, he doesn't know what moral permissibility is because he brought up free will in a conversation about moral permissibility. So first of all, we're not talking about whether or not we have free will. That has nothing to do with whether something is morally permissible. Something being morally permissible means that does God allow this thing to happen? He hung up, by the way, because he's a fucking pussy who can't handle not being able to overspeak in a conversation. If we're having a conversation about whether something is morally permissible, we're saying, does God allow this action? Not, does God let you have free will? That's not the question. And so the fact that he brought up free will in a conversation about moral permissibility shows me that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, my premise is that because God allows for evil and suffering, okay, therefore God evil, because God allows for evil and suffering. Is slavery suffering? Yes. Is slavery evil? I would say yes. I would assume you guys would say yes. If slavery is evil and slavery and suffering, and God allowed for slavery, then therefore God allows evil and suffering, therefore God evil. Hate to break it to you. And just final point, if you're going to tell me, well, I control your show, unfortunately you don't. I allowed you to keep talking, and I can allow you to shut the fuck up. Yeah, God can tell everybody what to do, guys, and what is not wrong unless it comes to slavery. And in that case, sorry, God just can't. He just does not have the power. God just can't do that. God just can't tell people. It's so stupid. Christians are dumb, bro. Thank you guys for watching. And shout out to my YouTube members. Their names appear on the side. Membership starts at $2.99 and gets you access to early videos, uncensored videos, and members-only content. Also, shout out to Tier 4 members Blaze and Yemye. Tier 4 members get to help choose debate topics, and their contributions go a long way to helping me create higher quality content for all of you. Remember to subscribe for your daily dose of leftist debates, and I'll see you in the next video.